What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video today, and in this video we are doing the 72nd installment of Random Model Airports. Today we're going to be doing the Baltimore Washington International Thurgood Marshall Airport. So as you can already tell, we're going to be switching up the format quite a bit for this Random Model Airport because this is one of those really large airports where I need a lot of planes, and doing the traditional format would take me way too long and it would be drawn out. So we're going back to the format that I did for the 50th episode of this series when I did Minneapolis. Go check that out if you want to get a little familiar with this format before jumping into this one. I'm going to change up a couple of things just based on, looking back at that video and seeing how it all played out and what else could be improved on to make it a little better for the viewing experience. So as we look at BWI, this has a bunch of concourses, A, B, C, D, and E, and each of them have like a dozen or so gates each, at least. So there's definitely a lot of planes that we're going to have parked in this update, and as a matter of fact, if I check my notes, so we have all but about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so all about maybe like 10 or so gates. So I think we're like 90% occupancy for this update, so it is pretty full. A1 through A5, that's not open right now because they are doing some construction based on satellite imagery. So there's that going on, and those gates will not be in use for this update. So now let's take a look at some of the history that this airport has based on what I could find. Baltimore Airport was first proposed back in 1944, and it officially opened in 1950, and it was named the Friendship International Airport. And it became the first airport in the DC-Baltimore area that was capable of handling large jets, because Washington Reagan was very tiny, and it still is to this day. They can't really have aircraft bigger than like a 757, and even then I don't think they get them anymore, but maybe sell them still from like Delta and all that. So Reagan was very cramped, and not a lot of runway space and all the restrictions that are applied to it, and Dulles had not yet been built at the time. That would be built a little later into the 60s. The airport was renamed to Baltimore Washington International Airport in 1973, and they changed the airport code to BWI in 1980 because it used to be BAL, and now that three-letter code is applied to the Baltimore Ravens of the NFL. First transatlantic flights came here in the 80s as well. World Airways was the first to do them, and then some other notable carriers that have come through here, Air Aruba, El Al, and Ghana Airways, just to name a few. Now, they don't really have a whole lot of international operations because mainly Dulles handles the majority of them, but Baltimore still does have some pretty solid variety. This used to be a hub for Piedmont and then later U.S. Airways. Southern Air Express also had a hub here, and now Southwest is the largest carrier in Baltimore, and they have designated it as an operating base for them. Concourse C, which is now the International Concourse, that opened in 1997, and simultaneously A and B were expanded to handle the increased amount of flights that Southwest was operating out of Baltimore. So they have quite the big presence, and you'll see a lot of Southwest planes in this update. The current name was given in 2005, named after Thurgood Marshall, a former U.S. Supreme Court justice. And as of right now, there are a whole bunch of renovations going on at Baltimore. And as I mentioned, gates A1 through A5, based on latest satellite imagery, are closed right now because I think they're just redoing that whole area. There's also, I think, some renovations as well, somewhere around the C concourse, for instance. I think there's doing something there. And I think Concourse C, that has also been expanded as well, since I see a section of E that looks much newer compared to the previous sections that exist. So new services coming for Baltimore. We have Sacramento that will be resuming on March 6th of 2025. Long Beach, Ontario, Portland, Oregon, and San Francisco will begin on June 5th of next year, and also San Jose will resume that same day. All these services are operated by Southwest, and the Portland, Oregon service, that will be seasonal. So that's all you need to know for Baltimore, and we'll go ahead and get started with the update. We'll start off with Concourse A and all Southwest Concourse. We now move into Concourse B. Again, this is just like A, pretty much all southwest and exclusive southwest area of the airport. We now move into Concourse C, and this is used by Southwest, American, and Contour also has a gate here as well. We now move to Concourse D, away from the Southwest operations. This is used by mainly American, United, Spirit, Sun Country, so pretty much all the other carriers, Delta as well. Any of the non-international carriers, all the domestic stuff, will fly into Concourse D. And lastly, we have Concourse E, and this is where all the international flights will operate into. Various Southwest and Spirit flights that also are from outside the U.S., they will park here as well. And that'll do it for this random model airport update. Baltimore BWI, a very awesome airport, and I'm hoping to visit it one day because it sounds like a really awesome airport. Try to hit that place up alongside Reagan and Dulles, since those are both amazing airports to spawn at as well. Of course, Baltimore as well, I forgot to mention, it is a pretty big cargo base, but I don't really do a lot of the cargo stuff. But they get like Amazon Air, Atlas Air, big presence there. I don't really have them in my collection. I should add them at some point, but for the time being, cargo has not really been the focus for the Random Model Airport series. It's always been on all the passenger traffic that they get, and certainly a lot here to focus on at BWI for this update. So hopefully you enjoyed. Thanks to several awesome acquisitions I've made this past year, I've been able to do this airport. And again, please continue to provide new suggestions in the comments, and with my international collection that will be growing further as we head through the remainder of this year and into next year, certainly the opportunities for new airports will open up significantly. So I'm excited to do some awesome airports as we head into the new year. With that being said, that is the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.